playing for the past 13 years. I started playing bass in high school. I went to Rusinga School, Nairobi. And back then, I actually started with guitar. That was my first instrument before I moved to this. I come from a family that is very musical. So my dad was a bass guitarist in those days, a long time ago. But they didn't have the opportunities some of us had. So what happened is he stopped playing and changed careers. But then later on I took over. I also have an uncle who used to sing for, there's a group called Zanaziki. Well, then in the 90s into early 2000s. Moise Karibu. Yes. Oh, that's a fellow bassist. Yeah, so again, I come from a very musical background, and I guess that's how I ended up taking up the instruments. So, yeah, as I said, I started in high school. I was a singer, and back then I was playing guitar, and we used to have a bassist called David Gitoho. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's one of my favorite bassists in this country. He's not playing as much now, but back then he was the guy I used to look up to. And fortunately, he was in Rusinga that time. So we needed to form a band, and what happened, we were missing a keyboard player. The good thing, David is multi-talented. So he decided, one day we were like, you know what, David, play the keys, let me try this bass thing. And from then on it picked up, and we moved. It was great. We did a few gigs, one or two with him when we were still in Rusinga. But after he left, now I'm the one who really took over the bass in the school. So that really helped me, because being in school, fortunately they gave us an opportunity to just pursue music fully. So we used to play at assemblies, school musicals, and we had great teachers who were also good mentors in the music fraternity. So with that, I was able to, to keep pushing, to keep practicing. It gave me a platform to work with others, which I thought was very important, because that's where you start understanding, oh, that's what the guitar is meant to do, that's what the drums is meant to do, etc. and etc. So after that, I moved to church. I think 4 years after, I moved to church. There's a friend of mine called Vienna who came to Rusinga. I remember one day we were leading worship, and he was like, this guy, I want to work with him. So then he was an intern at Nairobi Chapel at the youth church, and so he called me to play there. We played at a musical, and I met other musicians and stuff. Now, at church is where I met other musicians, professionals now. Please note, then I was still an amateur. Yeah, I'd just come from high school into church, Nini. So you're meeting the guys like Eddie Gray. I mean, you know Eddie Gray? Yes? Yeah, fantastic. Then he was a keyboardist. And when I joined church, actually, I played guitar. My first time playing with Eddie was guitar. Mind you, he's a guitarist, so the pressure was, yeah. But then with time also, I don't know what happened, I just stopped playing guitar, and I focused more on bass. So I continued playing bass in church. I moved to a church called Hope Center, and I became the resident bassist there. With time, Eddie called me back again to play with him. This time he was doing a lot more gigs around, and so I joined him. There I met other great instrumentalists, Richie Wandati, who plays drums, George Nyoro, who's there playing keys, and Amani at some point. Yeah, so this also took me to the next level. The pressure was great. I had to keep practicing and stuff like that. So then I met this saxophonist called Zameri, excellent guy, who introduced me to Blinky Bill of Just a Band. Don't know him, please go and check out his music. So I started playing with Just a Band. This is 2012. So when I finished high school, that's when I first joined them. My first gig actually was on the graduation day. So I joined them and I started playing with them. From then on, it's just been an amazing journey, which I'll share some of my experiences after. So next is my tools of trade. So of course this is Ibanez SR655. It's not where I started, of course. My first bass was a Rogue. It's called a Rogue bass. It was very new because I didn't have a bass then, so an uncle of mine also plays. And he was just like, you know what? I think you have an interest in this, have it, take it. So that's what I first used when I first started playing professionally. I was still an amateur, but professionally, that's what I used. But it was a lot of pressure because you're playing with guys like Eddie, who like, you guy, your bass is sounding bad, man. But I'm like, yes. Now, what do you want me to do, you know? So of course it pushed me to get a new bass. I needed to, you know, this industry is rough. If you don't step up your game, you'll be left to go in the leaves. You'll be all alone. So I had to work hard. Used to do hard music. Like I was what, 15, 16, and you're playing Lionel Lueke music. If you please go listen to him if you haven't. Crazy guy. So I just had to keep working. Unfortunately, when I joined Just a Band, the first tour we went for, we played with Scotland, so I managed to get a bass from there. Now this is the problem. I got a bass. I didn't understand much about basses then, so I didn't understand that different basses are for different genres. So I just bought a bass. I thought, I like this. It's better than what I have in the house. So I just bought it. Only to discover it's more of a rock bass. It's an Epiphone EB3. Yeah, so I got it and it was just I realized I can't play some of the music. Like I could play jazz music. Jazz music needs basically a shiba and stuff. So it was very light. And then even with Just a Band, like they were playing very heavy, bass-heavy music. That didn't work for me. So I had to go back to my Rogue, which everyone was allowing, but it really worked for me. But the lesson I learned from there was practice with whatever you have, whatever bass you have, whatever kind of bass you have, doesn't matter. You just need to practice and make sure you sound good with that, whatever you have. So even when you move to the next level, you're sounding great, you know, it's a much easier journey. So then with time, of course, I got another Ibanez, an SR305. Did a few years with it, then eventually now I bought this like about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So this is what I've been using over time. And then my other tools of trade, I have an effects machine here. This is a Boss GT10B. I like it because it has a lot of presets and the equalization things. So it's like a cheat code of some sort. So, but that doesn't mean you don't work on your tone. One thing I learned is, even without effects machine, please note, work on your tone, work on being audible when you play bass, regardless of the kind of style you play. Those notes, can that be heard? Regardless of what kind of bass you're using, can it be heard? So that even when you're using, these things are just to enhance the sound and to give you a variety of different sounds, you know, from octaver to whatever. So it's basically a processor. I also have a small pedal octaver. I guess that's because of the kind of music I play. So even with Blinky Bill, like it's very bass or like heavy, it's heavy on the low frequencies. So those are the things that really enhance now my sound when it comes to that. I also had a Boss. It was a GT1B, a smaller version of this thing, but I needed something that was more diverse, that had more options, more tools to play with. Yeah, so as a tools of trade, that's what I use. This is what I use, but of course, I want a lot more. I want to move to the next level. I'd like to get a microbass bass. Those things sound great, but they're expensive as. So, like even bringing this thing, okay, I'll just tell you, after years of saving, it goes for about 70. but bringing it in cost me 99,000. So it's one challenge, like I guess all of us have, instrumentalists. Gear is very, very expensive. Next, I'll talk about choice of amps. This is very interesting because here we have options. Whether this is a great time to be an instrumentalist, we have options. These guys, this is a great, gig dynamics are fantastic. They've given us these options. These things weren't there when we first started. We were used to, I don't know if you guys, if you're bassists or whatever, for those who don't know, like we used to use PV combos, small things. That thing, yeah. But that's what was there then. You know, it wasn't, you didn't have all these options of ultra low, what. See, what just, and that's what most churches used. A lot of us, if you talk to many of us, we started out in church and those are the things we used to use. But now, this is a different time and space. This is a fantastic time. You know, when you're being asked, so what do you want on your rider? What kind of bass amp? Before, you're like, what kind of bass amp? I mean, just give me a, you know, yeah, just plug in. But now you have to be very intentional about what you choose. And I really like this bass amp. I've never used it. Before, we just used to watch YouTube videos and like, okay, maybe that's what I want. But there's something important I want you to note, that you need to understand also your sound, your kind of sound, and what bass amp works best for you. There's some that, you know, I haven't used many, to be very honest, because again, we didn't have the option. So now is when doors are opening up. So I'm also on that journey of just discovering, okay, what works best with my bass as well, yeah? Because like now this is an active bass, active pickups. Some of these amps, like even that, the PV combo, it doesn't do as well with this because of, and I like using the active pickups. So again, just know what kind of amps works best for you. What you may use may not be what I may use. Maybe some could be easier for me, but you will come and be like, okay, I don't know how to figure this thing out. But again, it's a continuous journey, so we keep learning. So I'm going to talk about being a bassist and something called capacity building. So capacity building, this is, I'll just define it. This is the process by which individuals and organizations obtain, improve, and retain skills, knowledge, tools, equipment, and resources needed to do their jobs competently. Yeah? So basically, this is just beyond just playing. There are other skills, other tools that make you competent as a bass guitarist. So one of them is practice, of course. So I used to, when I first started out, because we had a lot of times, especially during the long holidays, so us guys used to have like 2 months, and I remember I used to take like almost 8 hours in a day of just practicing. Every single day, 8 hours, and I'm not even lying to you. Like, so my method of practicing was, I used to listen to a lot of music and try and play along. I think that's how I've learned how to, that's been my practice regime or whatever. So this helped me. I used to listen to Richard Bonner when I first started playing. Because of a family background, I used to listen to a lot of funk music, still do. Now, when you start interacting with other musicians, they expose you to different kind of music. So that's how I learned how to listen and you play along. Listen and you play along. There's something you learn from it. Whether it's, okay, this guy is playing this tone, okay, this song is bass heavy, okay, this song, the bass is Ukonyuma, sawa. What kind of scales is this guy playing? You know, if you listen to the likes of Jaco Pastorius, who was an amazing bassist back in Austin, this guy was fantastic with even his sounds. And if you listen to Richard Bonner, if you listen to his music, he's actually been influenced by Jaco Pastorius. So listening, part of my practice till today is just listening to music. I was telling him that I think sometimes as musicians, we just want to play, which is okay, but we have time to just sit down and listen to other people. And not to criticize, please note, to enjoy, yes. Then over time now you're like, okay, this music sounds like this. So even when I'm playing with other musicians who want this kind of style, at least I'm familiar with it, yeah? And it makes you more diverse. One thing I always encourage people is don't listen to just one type of music. Listen to everything. There's so much you learn from listening to that. If you look at my laptop, the playlist is wild. From Indian music to, I don't know, to which country, to jazz music. Yeah, it's diverse, and that's what has made me diverse as well. Hey, yo, this is so important. You have to be disciplined in terms of your timing, again, your practice schedule. Make sure you're disciplined. If you dedicate 7 to 8 are going to be practicing, make it 7 to 8. Don't let anything come, unless it's unavoidable, don't let anything come and distract you. Do that 7 to 8 as discipline, 1 in terms of practice. 2, even character. Let me tell you, you can be the best bassist, best keyboardist, best drummer, best whatever. But if your character is horrible, this journey will be very difficult because people will not want to work with you. Yeah? Even for your own self. Yo, why would I want to have... Don't forget, you're a brand. When you're out there, you're your own brand. So what kind of character are you displaying? Who do people say you are? What kind of character? That thing is so important. People will always want to work with someone who has, disciplined and, self-driven. You're respectful. Those things really matter. I've seen a few people who are fantastic musicians, but because of their character, plus, so and so, I'm okay, regardless of how much they're paying. Consistency. You have to be consistent in what you're doing. Again, okay, also don't let anyone take advantage of you when it comes to those studio sessions, especially artists. I don't know if there are some here, but what happens is they call you for a session, then they're being paid royalties, and they get a lot more than us guys. We barely get any stuff. And I talked to a lawyer, June Gashui. She said, okay, for instrumentalists, it's a bit hard. The artist writes the music and but for us, it's very hard to get those royalties. So what you do, if you're not banking on the royalties, then make sure you charge people correctly. Don't go and do free sessions. Okay, if it's your friend, sour, but this is your craft. This is your office, man. So make sure you also charge those guys who are asking for your stuff. What if that song becomes a hit? Yeah, and then if you've not sorted yourself out, that artist will have a good time. All people just say, oh yeah. All you can say is I played there, but that's it. And then, so please take this as an office, charge people well, don't overcharge. And again, it goes back to what kind of music are you guys doing as a band? Yeah. So some of the music I play is very electronic stuff. So I need to find songs that are very electronic, like this has an octave of some sort. Yeah, so there's that. Sometimes I play with a guy called McKinley and we are required to play jazz music. So I find something that sounds maybe like a fretless bass. I don't know if you can hear it. So again, it depends on what are you doing as a band, what's your playlist like. So then that will determine what kind of sound you use. Yeah.
My name is Steve Babu. Primarily, I'm a bassist. Well, by profession, but I love working with other instruments, especially for my arrangements on YouTube and Instagram. But yeah, bass, guitar is my main instrument. And right here at the Gig Dynamic workshop, just had a nice session about bass and everything, which I really loved because these are people in the industry professionally, and they tour around, so they have like really great insights of what to tell you and everything. And also together on keys, since for my arrangements I work on keys, and also the keys people who are holding the workshop and everything, they really like brought out a different perspective, including music theory, filling up spaces, not playing when everything is too congested and stuff like that. So it's really the workshop is really intense, especially it gives you a sense to know the level you're at and where other people are. Especially the people who are talking, you can tell, hey, this guy, he studied seriously. And I know it's not those studies for YouTube tutorials, it's actually Kong studies. Yeah, so it's a really great thing they've done and everything, doing the workshop, giving people the experience to play different instruments and also to test out different instruments and various instruments. Like personally, I've never played an organ before. It's the first time I've played an organ, and well, I don't like it, but at least the experience is that I can say, that organ, I played it. But yeah. So guys, subscribe also to my channel, Steve Babu. Simple like that.